A very good morning to you and welcome back to K24 this morning. It's that time when we have that very important conversation on Let's Chat. And today we just want to focus on what is happening as far as the industries are concerned in our sports industry, in our manufacturing industry, and basically just across all businesses. So today we're going to have that conversation with some eminent personalities right here on K24 this morning. So gentlemen, karibuni tena sana.
Thank you.
Karibuni, because I think this is a conversation. Sorry, this is a conversation that we need to have as far as our industries are being affected and concerned in terms of what is happening on the ground. So maybe just starting with you, sir. The COVID-19, as you know, since Friday, a lot of things have been said. The government has come out to mention a few things here and there in terms of what we need to do. But if you look at the situation and how our businesses are being affected, probably just a word or two in regards to how we're handling this situation from your personal perspective.
Okay, thanks a lot. We're looking at it from two perspectives. There's health and public safety perspective, and obviously there's a business perspective. From health and safety perspective, we all as Kenyans probably felt very safe in January when we started having cases reported in China, and it appeared so far away from us until it now hit the European continent and the US. Now, what our businesses did, first of all, was to try to mitigate. Just like you've done here, provide hand washing facilities, provide sanitizers, make sure the staff are safe, make sure the clients are safe.
Right.
But when we got to the shutdown of Europe,
yes,
and our technical shutdown from Sunday, then we started seeing now businesses now emptying out. So obviously hotels don't have customers, pubs don't have customers, supermarkets.
Pubs have been actually hit very bad,
very hard hit. Supermarkets, there is a rush, but obviously that will now fizzle out. You'll start seeing less and less people there.
Yeah.
And people are now a bit more aware. Even though on the streets there's a problem where we are finding citizens are not believing that
and that's actually a big problem, because huge problem. I mean, actually just coming to you again, sir, if you look at how people are reacting on the ground, we saw a viral video of a lady yesterday who said that hakuna kinafanyika, serikali inatudanganya, and those are actual citizens that have just been told by the president kaeni nyumbani, but they're like hii ni uongo. Yeah.
True. I think coming from the sports side, it's like watching your opponent play several matches from November when the first incident was reported in China. And you watch them play, you watch their tactics, you watch what they are strong at, and you're still waiting to play them tomorrow and still thinking they're not strong. I think for us as a country, we are privileged, very, very privileged to have been probably within the fourth or third generation, if I could put it that way. If we start with the Asian areas led by China, then Europe, and then the US, and now Africa. We have had a lot of learnings, pretty much. Question is, how fast are we learning and how fast are we reacting to it?
Okay.
It's impressive that the government is doing a lot, but I think now it's one of those times when, again, like in sports, the discipline counts. What you've learned, the basics in life, you have to go down to that. And one of the simple things is the directives being given, we need to obey them. We just need to obey them. We need to be accountable to each other to assist everyone. Because at the end, if we either save ourselves or we'll be in a very difficult situation.
Right.
We have the model in sports where you say, don't let anyone come to the D area. Because when they come to the D area, the
danger area.
The attack it's enormous.
Yeah.
We do not want to test our medical facilities because we know them. And therefore, the best thing is to stop the attack right from the outside level so that they don't come to a place where we know we are weak. Okay. And I'm hoping that as Kenyans will be able to very quickly realize this and take the required steps which we need to do as quickly as possible.
All right. Maybe Mr. Onjohi is stepping in on that particular situation as well.
Yes.
the situation on the ground is, do you think we, as a country, before now we get into the nitty-gritties of how it's affecting business and manufacturing and sports, do you think on the ground people are taking it as serious as they should be?
I would say that as a country, we're not exemption as far as the cashewness is concerned, because as I was trying to do some statistics or to analyze some statistics yesterday, they were showing that every continent or every country was as cashew as we are. We want to be cashew today. If it is Italy or Iran or US, or you're talking of China, the first week you'll hear of 3 to 5 cases. The second week you'll hear of a multiply effect that is pandemic in nature, getting to 50, 100 cases. The third week you'll get to 1,000 cases. The fourth week you'll get to 10,000 cases.
Wow.
So the analysis, that means there's, because of the incubation period that the coronavirus has to go through, then through that then there's a lot of contamination and contact that is happening. So prevention is better than cure. That's what I would insist to my fellow Kenyans. That we ensure that we take precautionary measures. If there are any directive or advisory that has been provided by the government, we ensure that we follow that, because they are being analyzed from a knowledge perspective, given like what my brother has said, that we have better examples in Europe and US and Asia, whereby that cashew has happened, and then we had the seriousness of the case being seen after 3 or 4 weeks. So what I would insist, let's be serious on the ground.
Okay. Now, Mr. Macharia, coming to you in your, at least in your line of business as a hotelier and as someone who's in the hospitality industry. Now, that one is going to be hard hit because, first of all, traveling has been restricted. So that means even Kawaida people like myself would like to go and travel to Mombasa and stay over at a hotel. I'm also going to think twice about that. Has the hotel industry started feeling the impact?
Yes. The impact is actually massive because we've been told not to travel. Our business depends on travel, purely. Either whether you're traveling domestically or you're traveling from an international destination. So obviously, when the government took the steps to try and contain and delay the spread of the disease, then we don't have any more flights coming into Nairobi from an international destination.
Right.
On the other hand, we still, if you look at our key source markets of getting clients, that is Europe and America, and to some extent Asia and Scandinavia, they are also not traveling out. They've been told not to move
leave.
So what that has done is that we have seen an emptying, a systematic emptying of hotels. It started in January, where the occupancy started dropping. When the bug hit Europe, we saw a considerable drop. When we made the announcement as a government on Sunday, then we saw now a complete shutdown. So what happened is that between Sunday and Tuesday, we were actually concentrating on looking for the clients who are out on safari, so that we can let them know this is the situation. They can either choose to go back home within, at that time we're giving them 48 hours, or they could stay and lock themselves for the 14-day window. So some people actually opted to leave.
Was it a large number, the exodus?
Yes.
Wow.
It's a very huge number. So as we speak right now, our hotels are practically empty. Bars are empty. Entertainment spots are empty. Taxi operators are struggling. Airlines are grounded. The airport is more or less like a ghost town.
And this is a serious ripple effect, eh?
So it's very huge. And it's not just in the hotel industry. It actually cuts across other sectors. And Wanjohi will be talking about manufacturing very soon. We have agriculture. You saw yesterday in one of your bulletins, somebody complaining there's a shortage of goat. It's because you go to the goat market every day. It's not that they are there every day. So if they are not moving, then there's going to be a shortage. So what we are seeing is a situation whereby if we don't do anything now, we will end up with massive job losses.
Okay.
But we have set up an advisory committee and the Kenya Private Sector Alliance. So all of us, every subsector is coming together and trying to give advice, work with government
on the way
and
forward.
understand how can we get out of this quagmire.
We shall get to KEPSA in a couple of minutes. What I want to ask Frank, though, is as far as now, the sport industry has been affected. First of all, people now, the London Marathon, for instance, has been pushed forward to a later date. People are worried that the Olympics, as much as we've been told, the games are still on, they might just be moved. And these are the Summer Olympics. If we are not there during the summer period, then what happens to such an industry now in regards to this particular COVID-19 attack?
You'd almost say that if there was any bad time for such an attack to happen, it would be 2020. And looking specifically for Kenya, just looking at the kind of programs and events we are looking forward to. The first one which was affected was the Kenya Open. That's a big event. We have the World Continental Tour, which was scheduled for May. We have the World Under-18 Athletics scheduled for June.
Yes.
I'll skip for now the Olympics.
Yes.
And later, at the same period, we had the World Rally, just after getting back to our world status. And then later in the year, around October, we are going to get our annual Safari Sevens, which from last year it's back and it's becoming stronger. And of course, the Olympics. Now, just looking at that top level in terms of the events, the impact has been instant and negative. By the time the Kenya Open was cancelled, people were already on site setting up.
Wow.
So you can imagine the kind of losses those people.
And that one translates to not just the service providers, but the people who had already booked tickets, for example, reservations to travel to those to that country, the service providers, the hoteliers, people in his industry as well. It's quite a large ripple effect that is affecting everyone.
True.
Sport is big tourism.
Actually, that's part of tourism as well.
It's true. The interesting thing about sports is, like now when I mentioned the sports, those are now the big events. Now we can come all the way down to the people who rely on sports on a daily basis.
Okay.
These are the coaches who go to clubs, the coaches who go to schools, the teachers. They are as basic as the grounds people. The grounds people will just manage and tend to the grounds. Who want some money. If it's a ball sport, they are the ball boys. If it's golf, they are the caddies. So we have a whole ecosystem of sports which is affected by what is happening. And then sports, as you all know nowadays, is on real-time basis. It's not something which we put for later.
We are watching it live on our phones, laptops and tablets and everything else.
Exactly. So if it's not happening now, it becomes very difficult. So far as we speak right now, it's a very, very tough situation. Like you mentioned, yes, Olympics. Olympics has very many facets to it.
Yes.
There's a big global coming together as a celebration of humanity. And that's one reason why we still hope that the Olympics can go on.
Okay.
Because after every time humanity is faced with such challenges as we faced, you want to come together and celebrate. And there's nothing which gives us that great opportunity than Olympics. You can imagine if everything goes well, and by July or August, we are all listening to a national anthem being played. It would
be a proud moment.
It would be very, very big. If the world can light that Olympic torch in the first day, that would be great.
Yes.
However, there's also the aspect of the individual athlete. The individual athlete too has worked with a cycle of 4 years, because the Olympics is the epitome of sport. So in terms of their periodization, in terms of their training, in terms of their competition schedule, Olympics was the ultimate.
Okay.
It means right now they're not in that schedule. It means they have stopped. There are some people who would have been competing as we speak today in preparation. Now that has been affected. There's a direct loss in terms of income. We know a lot of our Kenyan sports people are from very disadvantaged backgrounds. So this one opportunity of going to Olympics, it's almost an opportunity you want to take full advantage of in terms of the exposure, in terms of the income you get, in terms of the allowances you get as you train,
right,
in terms of all the travel that athletes are associated with. So at the individual level, it becomes very, very expensive.
Okay.
And Olympics is not every other time. It's a once-in-a-lifetime chance.
Actually, I want us, I'll come back to you with a similar question in regards to now, what happens to that person who was waiting for this 4th year, you know, to get that pesa kidogo yake kwa mfuko? Hey, Bwana Wanjohi,
yes.
In regards to the manufacturing industry now, I understand there's a silver lining because manufacturers internally, locally, those ones are actually benefiting to some extent. I don't know how true that is.
I would first of all look at the whole supply chain as far as manufacturing is concerned. Because 80% of our raw materials are imported, be it in the food and beverage. We're talking
really?
About, yes, chemical and allied and what.
Na vinyepa tunasemanga we are producers.
No, we are producers because there's a lot of value addition that happens locally.
Okay.
And one major disadvantage we have is that we have not done what is called value chain integration between the farming sector and manufacturing.
Okay.
About mining and manufacturing and whatnot. You find that value chain integration has not happened.
Okay.
So within that space of the 80% importation of the raw materials and intermediate goods, industrial spare parts and industrial machineries, you would see that the manufacturers are likely to be affected. But what would be of our advantage at the moment is that we do what is called forward planning. So we source for raw materials, either at a just-in manufacturing strategy, whereby you just bring the raw materials that you make instead of putting the store, you make the finished good, and then they hit the market.
Okay.
You know that then you have a storage whereby you have raw materials, intermediate goods that can survive you for a month or two. So if that value chain for importation of the raw materials and imported goods is affected, then most likely then is likely to affect us going forward in the next 30 days. So what now we are counting on is very fast integration of our value chains. If there is any raw materials that are being exported to other countries, we look at the strategies that we together with the government, how we can have a lockdown of the same, so that now those raw materials can be used for our own local production, so that now we can build resilience and sustainability of our own production and the economy. So again, if you're talking about the exportation, because we normally make a production not only for local production, local consumption,
but also to export,
also to the region, and also even to the international market. Like now we have what is called the Customs Union under the East African Community. Is a large market that we depend on, whereby we sell almost 20-something% of our goods. So you find there's a large market that we rely on. So again, if there's lockdown of the same, then we are going to stifle, or we are going to create bottlenecks along the supply chain in the manufacturing. So if we produce and there's no consumption, then that's likely to affect us. So one thing that we're encouraging our Kenyans is that let's do this as a common good.
Right.
We ensure that there is resilience in every sector. Let's support manufacturing. Let's support the hotel industry. Let's support what is internally available. Let's support the farming sector, so that by doing so we'll be able now to create those supply chains and the value chains, and even the auxiliary sectors to us are likely to benefit out of this. So we are suspecting, or we are forward looking and feeling that in the next 30 days we are likely to be affected, if at all the disruption between where we source our raw materials and Kenya is concerned. Because if you look at the international trade, we normally import goods worth about 1.7 trillion Kenyan shillings every year. Every year. And what we export is goods worth 613 billion shillings as of the Economic Survey 2019. That shows that within that space,
that's like a third of what we in terms of the value.
But if you look at the cumulative import and export, it's about 2.3 trillion shillings worth of goods. That is too huge to just be ignored, but we will not be able to flow within our country. So that now we are able to protect ourselves against these. Let's support our own internally.
I want to include the audience in this by asking the question of the day, which you can interact with us via our Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and WhatsApp numbers. Kindly let us know in the wake of COVID-19, how are businesses able to cushion themselves? In your own kibanda, in your own manufacturing, maybe in your own import and export business, in the wake of COVID-19, how are businesses able to cushion themselves? How are you cushioning yourself? Let us know, and we shall definitely sample some of those ones. You can also call us live in studio. We'll definitely love to hear from you. Let's get back to the hotel and hospitality business for a minute. From what we are hearing, because a lot of people when they come to Kenya, they're coming from all these countries, and kidogo we started seeing shutdowns. And how are you guys adapting in the wake of this situation? That just like we asked how businesses are cushioning themselves, in your opinion, maybe, how can the tourism, hotel industry, probably the whole hospitality industry, just cushion themselves in this particular situation?
Let me start first by addressing the cross-cutting nature of our business.
Yeah.
A typical hotel will have rooms and restaurants. That's all they own, basically. The rest is distributed.
Okay.
So if it's Coca-Cola, it's outsourced.
Yes.
The mboga from the market is outsourced. The meat is outsourced. Electricity is outsourced. Water is outsourced. So we think of ourselves as this big distribution chain. So when you shut down the distribution chain, then you can see the effect that it will have, not only on manufacturing, but also on agriculture and all the other sectors, including the alcohol business.
Just hold on, because I understand we have a caller from Tarakaniti. Kelvin, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing, sir?
I'm fine, thank you. And you guys there?
Asante tena sana. What is your question or comment?
Yeah, got a question and a comment also. This COVID-19 scare has proved to be a testing time for the economy of this country.
Yes.
But at least it was in the offing. It was something that we'd already seen other countries had already experienced, and therefore our government, I think, should have prepared itself well.
Yeah.
And I was just asking, because I've seen it happening in France and Canada. You just informed the other day, Canada asked the tenants, I mean the landlords, not to ask rent for the employees, from the tenants. France the other day also asked all the employers not to, all the employers not to employees during this time because of the economy is on a standstill.
Okay.
And therefore, I'm asking you, if it's possible to the experts and the studio, is it possible that maybe the government at least should single out one sector of economy, at least to help people out, maybe most especially in terms of rent and all that.
Yeah.
Because yesterday also, just on the TV, we saw that in Naivasha flowers are being taken to the dust.
Yeah.
To the compost pit, because people are also told to go back home because there's no. So definitely the economy is actually on a standstill, and it's going to be greatly affected. And this country.
Sawa, Kelvin. Thank you very much for that. Okay. We have a WhatsApp message as well. Let's see what you're saying on that particular communication line. If we have a lockdown all over the country, what will happen to those people or Kenyans who depend on a day-to-day hustling in urban centers? Okay. Sawa. We shall definitely address that as well. You were saying something about outsourcing and everything that is, you have to get it outside, mboga, the water and everything.
So we're this huge distribution chain. So we think of ourselves as a large supermarket of services and products. Coming to your question on the cushioning, we are faced with a situation where now, because of everything that we do, we are very labor intensive.
Right.
So you will find that a typical tourism facility will have more staff than a bank, for example, mainly because of the human-to-human contact. So we find ourselves with a lot of staff members in our establishments. And our greatest worry now, as we speak, is what do we do with the staff?
Okay.
Because we don't want people to lose jobs.
Definitely.
So we are thinking of a few areas where we can work in conjunction with the government to try and keep things going for the next few months.
Okay.
Obviously, based on the predictions that they have from our colleagues in the health sector, the trends, you know, that have been established around the world. Is it a 30-day window? Is it a 3-month window?
Will it
Is
be
a
more than
6-month
that?
window?
Yeah.
Is it more than that? But from our point of view, we would not be able to recover any business till probably the last quarter of the year.
Really?
Yes, because
we are talking about maybe 6 months from now. That's what you're saying.
We are talking more. We are talking about November. If things went back to normal.
If they went back to normal today.
Today, we would start recovering around November. We could get the domestic market moving, but the international market, because these people make travel plans
in advance.
Way in advance. So we don't see ourselves going into recovery mode till probably November.
Wow.
So what we need to do is think about how do we stimulate, how do we keep our people in jobs without telling them to go home. How do we stimulate some cash into the economy so that things can
at least keep moving.
Okay. That question on WhatsApp there is a very, very critical question.
That one is definitely that's a subject by itself
something that
we'll tackle in a few
have
minutes.
to think about, because a lot of people rely on what is known as the daily kill. Yeah, so what they make for the day.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a look at one more WhatsApp message as we move forward with this particular discussion. Okay, here we have it. Hello, K24. Brian Megeke from Kisii. The economy will have to drop at an alarming rate courtesy of the corona issue. For sure, manpower is the best effort toward achieving in any society. So we feel puzzled when the government is directing us to quarantine ourselves and work from our households. Okay, we take a short break on that particular point, and when we return, definitely look at how the sports industry, the manufacturing industry, and the hotel industry is trying to cushion this whole situation, because this one, in my opinion, is literally the backbone of the economy going forward. So do stand by. Our conversation goes on in a minute.